Welcome to another edition of Resilient Living Podcast, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and today is episode 6, and it is 2021 financial opportunities. And I'm very excited about this one. Before we get in, though, the background noise is my mobile studio, my 96 F350 7.3 liter pickup truck. So excuse the background noise until we get the show off the ground and get ourselves into a real studio. I'm so excited about this topic today because there was a lot of fear that I had, especially here in 2021. Actually, in 2020 is when it really stemmed for me. And there's some people that I depend on for my livelihood and for my well-being and the well-being of my family. And I was very scared about a lot of job loss and stuff like that. And I still, to a certain extent, am. But I know that there's a lot of jobs that are out there right now. I know that a lot of people don't want to work. It's just ridiculous. We got places like McDonald's just trying to give bonuses to get people to come in. They need help. There's all kinds of different business sectors that are looking for help right now. What I'm seeing as a plus is that for anybody who is willing to work, is in a job that they don't really like, they want to move up or they want to change things around, now is like one of the biggest opportunities you've ever had. If you can prove your value, you can make probably more money than you ever have before. If you've been in a job for 5-10 years, and you've been running something like a bar or a grocery store or a restaurant or something like that, and there's people who need help right now, but you were never given the opportunity to do management or something, to step up your game. Now's that time. So I'm super, super excited for most people. I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own business, so it's not really, it's been difficult for me to try to find help. Although I haven't been really looking for it, my lifestyle design, the current one right now, which I've coined the alternative lifestyle design, is I don't really want a lot of overhead. I prefer to do things myself, such as I'm doing today, and I make a lot more money. I live in California, and we have a lot of rules and regulations here. It's just it's a crap hole here, right? There's a lot of different hurdles that they're making us jump through. But as far as people getting ahead, I really look at, I understand that a lot of people do need these stimulus checks and that a lot of people can't really work, but regardless of what happens, the money and the business and the economy and everything moves without you. And basically what I'm wanting to say here is that if you're wanting to buy a new car, buy a home, basically buy anything, and you want to apply for credit, you're going to look really bad. So that's what I look at. They are saying that possibly the rest of the year of 2021, that the government looks like they're just bailing people out. They're looking to pay their rents for them. Mortgages, I just heard, not mortgages, but their rents, I heard about a week ago. And it just seems like it's just going to be a nice party, but that's got to end sometime. And when it does, you're going to look really bad. For those of you who can work and you guys are just partying and going, why should I work? Because that's how you get ahead. You're just surviving, in my book, my opinion. You're just surviving with these stimulus checks and you're having a good old time. But meanwhile, your credit and everything else, your amount of money, that your power of it for investing in things is going nowhere. Now's an opportunity to go to work, to go out there and grab one of those good jobs. So I want to talk about dealing with inflation next year. A lot of people, I just got word on all kinds of different, everything's everywhere. Inflation on, let's just say, metal right now in the construction industry, at least in mine, in the roofing, has gone up 45%. 45, guys. It's gone up, 4% in January, another 3% in April, and now it's going up another 7% here on June 1st. That's just below, that's 14% hike, if my mathematics is right while I'm driving. You guys are going to have to excuse me. Sometimes I fumble my words because it's hard. I'm towing a trailer behind me, and I'm also trying to focus on the road and do this podcast. Some people think I'm crazy, but I love doing it. But yeah, you guys got to really be careful out there. I think getting a better job, if you are deciding to work, you're going to need to make that more money, much more money than you have. Your dollar's not really worth what it was. If you've been working for, I don't know, $15 an hour, and now you got a raise of $20 an hour, you guys need to understand the monetary systems and how they work. Look at the numbers. 45% hike in some prices. We've got prices going up just 14%. So you have to look at your price hike. or the money that you're getting paid for your raise. Yes, you're making $20 an hour now, but the buying power is still, you're in the exact same spot that you were. You need to up your game if you want to actually make it out. If you want to just survive, that's what we say, moving you from surviving to thriving. And this is a big key. I'd say, so for those of you working a 9 to 5, you're going to have to make a side hustle. You're going to have to do something. You've got to up your game. Be careful on where you spend your money as well. You have that power. Buy good things. We like to teach on this show. Buy stuff that's essential. And when you are going to buy, don't buy that cheap throwaway stuff. That's the problem I see in our society. Is we're a throwaway society, and I think it even means to ourselves and our lives, our planet, and our children and everything. We're designed to work our rear ends off, and it's very difficult to stay up on the time. So that's why I like to give these kind of things, and inform you guys to just consider giving this some thought. Now, if you're a business owner like me, you're into sales or things like that, I think the first thing that I thought of was, well, why don't we lower our prices so we can at least put food on the table? Wrong, wrong, wrong. We need to actually up our prices. And I know it's very difficult to not close deals, but you know what? Those lower cost prices, there's no equal value for value exchange for you or the client. In the long run, all you did was put bread on the table, food on the table there, and you didn't really make that much of a profit. So sooner or later, something's got to give. There's no way that you can sustain business. I mean, you can keep going, but at the end of it, you'll be left with nothing, and you actually cheated yourself. So really consider sticking to your guns and battling out this inflation, but you're going to have to raise your prices on everything. Do things that other people won't do. So for instance, I want to tell you guys, I closed the deal, and it was only $850. I know that may sound a lot to a lot of people, but it was made in like 4 hours. Right? That's not pure profit. I live in California, and that's a lot of, at least 60% of that gets taken away from me, for taxes and everything else, insurances and things, and some materials and stuff like that. But was really good money. I was able to do 2 jobs like that in a day. But the thing I want to talk to you guys about is that I'm in this was a roofing project. These people called roofers and couldn't get anybody to come out. Why? Because they said that their problem was they had some rodents they suspected inside their attic, probably getting in through the roof. That's what the Terminix, or the company that came out, the pest control, said. So they'd rather hire a roofer to come out there professionally and seal up anything, check out what the roof was about. So yes, they did have some openings and things like that through some pipe ventilations and stuff. But what I did notice as well was that they had a bunch of cracked sealants around the roof joints. They also had broken tiles, sliding tiles. They had all these other issues, so I was able to tack on a lot of these different things over a job that most people would just turn away. And I was able to get 2 of these things. So if you think about that, that's some really, really good coin. There's not a lot of people that make that type of money, especially in a day. Especially doing something that other people just rejected and said, I don't really care about that. And I want to talk about opportunities just quickly here. Rodent proofing, you don't need a license to do rodent proofing. So I talked about the money that it cost me to stay in business with liability insurance, workers' comp, inflation, all the costs it takes to be a licensed contractor is ridiculous. But if I was able to get these rodent jobs, these seasonally, I look at too, as we're heading towards spring here, and there's a lot of pigeons that are showing up, and they're wreaking havoc on people's homes, nesting, getting in the attics and stuff like that, pooping all over the place. And normally a roofer wouldn't want to take these things on, but I can actually split my work into 2. I'm trying to share some information here with you guys on how to survive something like a recession and things like that, doing jobs that nobody else likes, but a complete side hustle that's got a total low overhead. Let's just think about how difficult it would be to actually stuff wire down a pipe, right, to make a little wire cap, or to screw in a wire shield over a tin flashing. How hard is it to actually scrape out and clean some gutters? How hard is it to remove pigeon waste and pressure wash a little area and actually nail up some bird netting? Not much. There is a few things. You don't want to be putting screws into solar panels. You don't want to be putting screws up through the roof, through the bottom. You want to make it look neat, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I can pull off a whole sector of business and be running my roofing business, while the pest control, gutter cleaning, and all that goes off a whole nother business that doesn't require so much of the money and attention that I have going on here with my roofing construction business. So it's a complete side hustle. As I said, I can really train somebody relatively quickly. So that's the kind of thinking I think that we need to get used to battle recessions, inflation, and things like that, and start making money. I mean, even if you didn't really know what you were doing, I just look and I'm like, just a 16-year-old could figure out how to do this kind of stuff and open up its own business. And while the 16-year-old's going to school, legally, I guess they wouldn't be able to do that. Let's just say you're 18, you're going to college, and you got a rodent proofing business. All you need is a business license, and while you're learning, money's being generated for you. And there's people who want to work that need jobs. So, we're killing two birds with one stone here. Moving on next here is many businesses are going to go down, and you can replace them. Sadly to say, a lot of businesses are continuing to go down. There was something like, I can't remember, I think it was like 3 million. I forgot the numbers on it. It was a lot for nationwide. I know we get listeners from different parts of the world. This is here in America, and there's a lot of businesses going down. And I think a lot of them are going to go down due to automation. So I don't want to sound conspiracy theorist here. And it's just a thought that I have of how interesting it is that a lot of how automation will play in taking over businesses. Automation was already coming, in my opinion. If you do the research of robotics and stuff like that, it's been happening a long time. It was already creeping its way in. It's just that the recession from the COVID thing just really accelerated. It brought a need for it. So we mentioned like McDonald's is offering people, they're trying to give bonuses to even get people to work for them there. So what could happen is that the government's been giving stimulus checks and helping people out, paying their rent for them and everything. And this has been going on, at least the stimulus checks, for a long time. A lot of people didn't even have to pay rent. There's a moratorium there. And this is going to go on and on and on here, maybe possibly for the rest of the year. Seems to me like a bunch of children, those who don't, I understand again, those who can't work, that you need it, take it. But those who are just kind of riding the system, that UBI, Universal Basic Income, would kind of be a perfect sleight of hands here. Look, we paid your rent, we gave you stimulus, we tried everything. Jobs opened up, you didn't even nobody wants to really go to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the automation to do the jobs that you guys don't want to do, and maybe a lot of jobs you guys can't do. And a lot of businesses are going to make a lot of money. How will it play out with when people are ready to go back to work? I don't know. If robots have taken over and automation's taken over things, I have no idea, other than they will tax the heck out of the rich or the working to pay for the people who are on universal basic income. And I can see this as for people just to get by. And we talked about moving it from surviving to thriving, not just surviving. And I think that could be a plan there where people are just got just enough to survive. And I think most people would be just happy to do so. But I know there's a lot of us who want to retire, those of us who want to live better lives. We don't want to be stacked up in the rat race. We want to be able to live lives on our own terms and do what we want. And I think that automation, you better damn well be careful of what job you're seeking. Can it be automated? I've seen how Costco automates making pizzas and things like that. There still is the human hand that needs to intervene a little bit, but do yourself a favor, watch shows like that. I think that a hamburger could totally be made by automation. I think that drinks in a bar could be made through automation. There's all these different sectors. Solar panels could be cleaned if they had the proper railings and stuff. We have the farm bot that goes and shoots, stamps out weeds. It can tell the difference. It shoots nutrients and water, specifically even plant stuff for you. It's a farm bot. It takes away all the hands. Can it harvest? I don't know, but I'll bet you they're working on stuff like that as well. So make sure whatever job you're looking for can't be automated, or prepare for things like that could happen in the future. Because I believe almost whatever they can automate, if you guys don't think that business owners like me, if they can automate and get rid of people, they aren't going to do it, you're living in la-la land. Because we can make so much more money. And guess what? The robot doesn't get sick, have a bad day, get depressed, show up late. It's always there, and it's continually working. So those of you who are investing in businesses, same thing. Keep an eye out. But I think those of us who are, harness this automation. Use your imagination. Think about how you can automate a lot of different things so that you can do without having so many employees and actually survive this game. If you can invent things, if you can, just for instance, I got a salad spinner, guys, and I grow a lot of my own food. I'm resilient living. I practice what I preach, and I've got tons of salad greens coming in. What I did is I bought myself a salad spinner, which I never owned one before. And it's somewhat automation, and that way I can dry out my harvests and things so that I can I can do more things. I can basically stick all my bok choy, my arugula, lettuces and stuff, and I just hit a top and it spins everything out. I rinse it all out, of course, first. Hit it on the top and gets rid of all that water. For those of you who don't know, dries it out so it stores a lot better. And I'm able to do mass quantities. As soon as I hit that top and it starts spinning, I can go start chopping vegetables. I can multitask. I can do all kinds of things. Stacking functions is a big one we're going to be talking on the show. So any way that you can automate your business, but also any way that you can automate your life. I like to study and see what's going on with businesses and what the government and corporations and everybody's doing, all the supposedly evil people. But I look and there's a perfect blueprint for what we can do as individuals for ourselves. So if we can watch the way the so-called evil and the monster is moving in its habitat and mimic things like that in our own homes, such as something so simple as a salad spinner, within 15 minutes you're able to get 5 things done, whereas if you were sitting there trying to swirl them in a sack, to get them dry or put a blow dryer on them, see what I mean? We're able to do multiple things. So it's not just about money, it's a philosophy of stacking functions, studying the systems, learning what we can, and staying positive and going from there and living a better life. Because it's all about freedom, but it is all about the coin. We have to stay on top of the coin so we can live that life that we want to get to where we need to, out of whatever we want to get out of and into whatever we want to get into. So guys, that's the show. Resilient Living Podcast. We don't have a website yet. It's coming up soon. It'll be resilientlivingpodcast.com. You can email me though if you have any questions, concerns, or anything you guys want to hear on the show, and that's Resilient L Podcast. Resilient with the letter L podcast at gmail.com. Guys, thanks for being here today. If I brought you guys any joy, if I made you guys laugh, if I brought you some entertainment, if it was any value, please like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, all that good stuff. And I can't wait to do the next one. And as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire and human up, my friends.